Police say investigators are still looking for the person who shot a woman described as in her mid-20s.
So that shooting happened about 3 o'clock this morning on Conley Downs Road off of River Road. 11 Alive's Chase Howell spent the day in the neighborhood, talked to neighbors who described what they heard leading up to the gunshots.
Just said it was in the car.
In this home security video, you can see two people get out of a car and start walking down Conley Downs Drive just before 3 Friday morning. While you can't see much from this Ring doorbell, you can hear what sounds like female voices yelling at one another.
Maybe for 10 minutes somebody was arguing, and after that it was the two gunshots.
Man, I swear, I must be getting old because I feel totally out the loop now. Yesterday, reports dropped saying a 19-year-old woman got arrested for the death of another young woman on Halloween morning. Wild, right? A young woman throwing her whole life away at just 19? No, it's crazy. So I decided to dig into the story myself, just to bring it to everyone's attention. I went straight to the comments trying to catch up, and with all due respect, family, the comment section was pure chaos. It looked like a whole group of 304s holding a loud meeting online, arguing like it was a business conference or something. I sat there thinking, ain't no way I'm seeing this for real.
Police say investigators are still looking for the person who shot a woman described as in her mid-20s.
So that shooting happened about 3 o'clock this morning on Conley Downs Road off of River Road. 11 Alive's Chase Howell spent the day in the neighborhood, talked to neighbors who described what they heard leading up to the gunshots.
Just said it was in the car.
In this home security video, you can see two people get out of a car and start walking down Conley Downs Drive just before 3 Friday morning. While you can't see much from this Ring doorbell, you can hear what sounds like female voices yelling at one another.
Maybe for 10 minutes somebody was arguing, and after that it was the two gunshots.
Marcia has been living on Conley Downs Drive since 2016. She says the woman who was shot was left to die in the middle of the street across from this Airbnb.
It's sad, you know. People drink, people argue, and there's a lot of gun violence. And that's the issues that we have.
One woman who didn't want to go on camera says there was a Halloween party at the Airbnb Thursday night. And just like Marta, she too heard arguing, followed by two gunshots.
It was two females that ended up arguing, they were cussing.
I caught up with Brandon Garcia while he was walking his dog. He says this happening in his neighborhood isn't only disturbing as a resident, but as a veteran.
Serving overseas and coming home safely, and then things like this happen so close to home, it's one of my biggest fears.
I was able to get a hold of the homeowner. He says only two people were supposed to be staying at his property. And when I asked him who they were, he wasn't sure. So when one of his friends came to check out the damage, I asked him about the shooting, even though he wouldn't open the door. Could we ask you just a quick question about what happened last night? Did you happen to know the girl that was shot and killed? Not at all. Do you own this home? Or are you just renting it out with Airbnb? As of Friday afternoon, DeKalb County Police tell me there is no additional information to release. Indicator Chase Howell, 11 Alive News.
Thank you so much, Chase. Airbnb says its anti-party system is activated. It's supposed to catch these types of bookings. The technology evaluates the potential party risk by reviewing the length of the reservation, the distance from the guest location, and the timing of the booking.
As I kept scrolling through story after story, I saw girls straight up bragging about selling themselves like it was something to be proud of. One even said, "I'm done with the cheap ones. If he want this, he gotta drop at least 100. And I'm sitting here like, 100? That's what counts as top tier now? Man, times really have changed. But honestly, that moment kept me focused on the real story.
Like me too, she a mad hoe. I looked her up, she ugly too. I like pretty bitches.
I realized I didn't even have to look too deep to understand what was going on here. We got a young girl just 19 who threw her life away, and that hit me. I wanted to understand what makes someone crash out like that, because truth be told, that 304 lifestyle doesn't just start on social media. It starts way before that. It comes from neglect, from pain, from broken homes, from trauma and situations where kids feel like running away is the only option. So I did what anyone would do next. I dug deeper to really understand what led her down that path. So I started looking into the mother. And let me tell you, what I found was wild. Something serious happened to her just last month, maybe even just weeks before everything went down. And once you see what I saw, you might actually understand why this young girl started to spiral out of control. Now, don't get me wrong, we're not excusing anything here, but it might explain why she crashed out the way she did. Some people grieve differently, and honestly, when you hear this, you might even feel like she wanted to end up behind bars just to escape everything going on around her. But before we dive all the way into this one, I gotta make it clear. I'm not here to push any angle or twist the story. I'm just laying it out exactly how it is, straight facts. So make sure you like, comment, and subscribe because what comes next is gonna open your eyes for real. Now, before we break down the case details, I wanna hit pause for a second and talk about something that keeps popping up in these conversations. The term 304. Yeah, you keep hearing it, but a lot of people still don't even know what it means. So let's keep it clean and YouTube friendly while we break it down. Back in the day, 304 was old school pager slang. If you typed 304 on a calculator and flipped it upside down, it spelled out a word that folks used to describe women who sold themselves. It was code, street talk, you know? But now, here in 2025, social media done brought that word back to life. Not just as slang, but as a full-on culture. And that's the sad part. Most of these young girls don't even know where it came from. They just see the lifestyle, the fast money, the attention, the designer clothes, and they jump right into it like it's glamorous. But real talk, if we're keeping it honest, Atlanta has turned into one of the biggest hotspots for that 304 lifestyle. It's deep out there. Now don't get it twisted. It's not like every girl in Atlanta is living that 304 lifestyle. That's one of the biggest misconceptions out there. But see, Atlanta is a city where image, nightlife, clout, and fast money all crash together like a storm. You got bottle girls making thousands in a single weekend, dancers pulling in tens of thousands on a big holiday, and IG influencers flexing the soft life like it's a luxury brand. Everything blends together so tight that the word 304 slid right into the city slang. But here's the truth. It's not as glamorous or as common as it looks online. Social media has people thinking it's a fairy tale, but the reality behind it is way different. The game done changed. Today's 304 culture is nothing like what it used to be. These new practices are on a whole other level. You got young women who never even step foot in a club. They're running their whole setup straight from their phones. Everything's digital now. Instagram stories, close friends lists, OnlyFans pages, secret sneaky link apps, private Snapchat premiums, location-based meetups, Telegram groups, Cash App, Apple Pay. The list goes on. It's a new world built on screens and illusions, and everybody's trying to look like they're winning. Some girls are even using AI to edit their pictures, pretending they're living this luxury life, but in reality, they're still staying at home with their moms. Some are doing it just to survive, some for the clout, and some are just lost, chasing any bit of attention they can get because they never had real love or structure growing up. And that right there, that emptiness behind the image, is what made me look deeper into this whole case. Once you really take in the environment, the trauma, the pressure from money, the nonstop flexing on social media, you start to see how a 19-year-old could spiral and crash out like that. It's not an excuse, but it gives real context, fam. Because imagine this. What if the same woman who gave you life turned around and used your body for money, kept all the profits, and twisted your mind while you were still just a kid?
Was left for dead by people she trusted after she was shot. Now they're fighting for justice from Texas. Channel 2's Candace McCowan is live outside the DeKalb County Jail where a 19-year-old woman is now charged with malice murder, Candace.
Yeah, and Karen, this shooting, it happened on Halloween. 26-year-old Kennedy Sanders was killed. Today, her family sent me these photos of her and said that when they heard what happened, they knew they would have to fight for justice, even though they're 800 miles away.
She got out of Dallas and moved to Atlanta and started working in a club.
The family of 26-year-old Kennedy Sanders said she came to Metro Atlanta for a fresh start, but it's the place where she took her final breath.
It was a party, and she got into it with the girl, and from what I'm hearing, the girl came back to shoot her.
This was a scene early Halloween morning. Neighbors told Channel 2 they heard arguing, and then 15 minutes later, gunshots. DeKalb County Police found Kennedy shot and killed on Conley Downs Drive.
And then they left her in the street.
Tuesday, investigators said they arrested 19-year-old Janiyah Bates and charged her with malice murder. Kennedy's aunt, Cynthia Martinez, said she's been fighting for this arrest since she heard what happened to her niece.
It was a little birthday party they had for a friend of theirs. on Airbnb. It was only like 10 of them. Nobody's really speaking up. Like the girls that were all there, nobody's really coming up saying anything.
Bates is in jail without a bond. As for Kennedy's family, they are heartbroken and tell me they won't rest until they get justice.
But I know that she's trying to use self-defense as to why she did what she did. But that's not the way it went at all.
Yeah, and Kennedy's aunt tells me she's been on the phone constantly with investigators all the way from Texas and saying that she's going to follow this all the way until they get complete justice. For now, live here outside the DeKalb County Jail, I'm Candace McCowan for Channel 2 Action News.
That kind of betrayal cuts deep, and some people never recover from that kind of pain. Now, I want you to focus on a woman named Virginia Ann Bates, 37 years old, out of Forest Park, Georgia. Just a few weeks ago, she pled guilty to serious charges, human trafficking and pimping, right there in DeKalb County. Yeah, you heard that right. According to court documents, as part of her plea deal, she admitted to knowingly harboring and providing a 16-year-old female relative and an 18-year-old female to sex buyers for money. The victims weren't officially identified to the public, but it's been strongly alleged that they were her own children. And one of them is believed to be the 19-year-old suspect in this tragic story, the one who ended up catching a case for taking someone's life. That's how deep and dark this whole situation runs. Prosecutors said Bates was even taking a cut from the money her daughters were being exploited for, collecting portions of the profits from every commercial act. Authorities reportedly rescued the 16-year-old victim back in March 2023, but by then, the damage was already done. When the judge handed down the sentence, it was heavy. 40 years total, with 25 years to be served behind bars and the rest on strict probation. She also has to register as a sex offender for life. The charges were stacked, 3 counts of pimping and 4 counts of trafficking, showing just how serious and heartbreaking this case really was. This entire mess first hit law enforcement's radar back in November 2021, when that 16-year-old girl was found living with Bates, who was supposed to be her family, her protector. But instead, she turned into her biggest source of pain, and that's the twisted foundation behind everything that followed. So here's where things get even darker. Law enforcement first got involved after being called to the house because the 16-year-old girl was having a mental health crisis. When officers and EMS showed up, they immediately noticed something wasn't right. They started to suspect that this child might have been a victim of human trafficking, and sadly, their instincts were right. The young girl was taken to a treatment facility for help, but not long after, she ran away and was officially listed as a missing juvenile. Even while she was missing, her mother, Virginia Bates, kept in contact with her. Can you believe that? Instead of helping her daughter get back on her feet, Bates ended up renting a hotel room for both the 16-year-old victim and an 18-year-old victim, where they were reportedly expected to perform commercial acts for money. It gets worse. Bates didn't just sit back. She personally helped take photos of the girls, then posted online ads selling their services. She handled the transactions and even collected the money from those so-called favors. After that, she went as far as transporting the 16-year-old to another location so more acts could take place. This was full-blown exploitation. That's when Chief Investigator Kim Bale and the Attorney General's Human Trafficking Prosecutor Unit stepped in around March 2023. They tracked down the missing girl and successfully rescued her, putting an end to that nightmare, at least for a moment. Once Investigator Kim opened the official case, the evidence started stacking up fast. Bates was finally arrested on March 25th, 2024, and as we already mentioned, by October, she was sentenced to 40 years, with 25 to be served behind bars. But here's the part that hits hard. Just a couple of weeks after that sentencing, her 19-year-old daughter, the same one she had dragged through all that trauma, ended up taking another young woman's life. It's tragic and shocking all at once. A heartbreaking chain reaction that started with pain and ended in tragedy. On Halloween night, October 31st, 2025, things took a tragic turn. Around 3 a.m., officers got a call about a person shot over in the 3700 block of Clooney Downs Drive near River Road. When police arrived, they found a young woman, later identified as Kennedy Saunders, lying outside in her nightclothes with a gunshot wound. It was a chilling scene in the quiet of the early morning. Police reviewed home security footage from the neighborhood, and what they found painted a tense picture. Cameras caught 2 people getting out of a car, walking down Clooney Downs Drive, and moments later, another Ring doorbell video picked up shouting back and forth, just seconds before the gunfire erupted. You could literally feel the tension through those clips. Authorities believe the reason Kennedy was outside in her nightwear was because she and about 9 other women had been hanging out earlier that night. They gathered for what seemed like a casual get-together, but not long after, chaos broke out. A video from inside the gathering somehow made its way online, showing the energy and mood right before everything went left. Check it out. It's the kind of footage that gives you chills when you realize what came next. The victim, as mentioned, was 26-year-old Kennedy Saunders, also known online as Cartier Cardi. And just to be clear, the photo being shown is the most respectful and appropriate one available for this platform. Out of respect, we'll identify her as a model and dancer because that's how she was known and what she worked hard for. She had dreams, she had her own lane, and she didn't deserve what happened that night. May she rest in peace because this whole situation is beyond heartbreaking. Just a week before Thanksgiving, about 7 weeks after that tragic Halloween night, DeKalb County Police finally made an arrest.
Y'all ain't spraying no tea. Keep talking about something she was shaking ass. They ain't gonna talk about something that girl ain't had AIDS. Y'all worked at the club together. They make y'all take tests. They didn't even check y'all IDs. You want me to believe that they made y'all take tests? And a lot of you was sucking and shaking ass with her. Y'all ain't make as much as she did before she got up out the gang. So now y'all want to gang up. And don't forget to mention she turned herself in with her lawyer. With the money that she was sucking, shaking ass for, honey. You gotta make a purpose out of it. That's the thing. Y'all was sucking and shaking that and ain't make nothing out of it. She came up out of it on top. And I'm still gonna stick beside her.
But this time, it wasn't Virginia Bates. It was her daughter, 19-year-old Janiyah Bates, also known online as Foreign. Yeah, the same young woman we've been talking about, the one whose life had already been tangled up in her mother's dark past. She was booked into the DeKalb County Sheriff's Office at 12:03 a.m. on November 18th, facing serious charges, murder and malice murder. The arrest sent shockwaves online, especially with everything already surrounding her family name. Now, before we play the official news clip with the latest updates and new evidence, let's talk about something that caught my attention right away. Remember earlier when I said I was scrolling through the comments? Well, one post really stood out. People were defending Janiyah, taking her side like she was the victim in all this. You wouldn't believe how far some folks were going to stick up for her. One girl even jumped online saying she was sticking beside her no matter what, acting proud like it was loyalty. I mean, really? It's crazy to see how social media can twist reality when emotions get involved. But let's get one thing straight, and this needs to be cleared up for the record. She didn't turn herself in. Nope. She was apprehended after being captured, not voluntarily. The streets might tell one story, but the official report tells another. Now let's roll that news clip, because what's coming next lays everything out clear as day. Rest in peace once again to Kennedy Saunders, also known as Cartier Cardi, and prayers up for everyone affected by this whole situation. When you really sit back and think about this story, it hits deep. It shows just how fast life can flip when someone's carrying pain they never healed from. You've got a young girl, barely an adult, diving into a lifestyle that social media makes look glamorous, while her mother was already caught up in her own darkness just weeks before everything exploded. When you start connecting the dots, it becomes clear. The mother's choices shaped a lot of how her daughter was living. And like I always say, I'm not here to judge or point fingers, I'm just laying out the story exactly how it unfolded. It's up to you to decide what it all means. But one thing's for sure, the internet has a scary way of making struggle look normal. It makes pain look profitable. It turns people's trauma into content and makes self-destruction look like it's something to celebrate. Behind all those flashy posts, there's real heartbreak, real loss, and real young people who never even got a fair chance from the start. This story right here is about a 19-year-old accused of taking another woman's life, just weeks after her own mother got sentenced for allegedly exploiting her. That's not just a headline, that's generations of pain colliding in real time. So now I'm turning it over to you. What do you think? Do you believe everything this young girl went through played a part in how things turned out? Or was this just another tragic story of someone throwing their whole life away for nothing? Drop your thoughts down in the comments and let's talk about it. And hey, don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, and share this video. It helps the channel grow and keeps these real conversations going. I'll catch y'all in the next one. Stay safe and stay aware out there.